Okay, welcome. So we've started recording. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I would proceed with what I have here. So I'm having a little bit. Once again, I'm going to apologize. While I hope to sort out my slides, I'm having issues with my slides a bit. So I would just have to go back to the back end of my curriculum and then we'll talk from there. Like I made mention, and I'm going to apologize in time, it's going to be a rough walk, it's going to be a rough sketch. You're just going to see it as it is, right? But like I mentioned earlier, this is basically and solely going to focus on practical. So for now, I don't really mind the theoretical aspect. So we're going to work from it. Don't just let the document, overwhelm me and all. And with that, I would start sharing my screen. Thank you, everybody. So if you can share my screen, please let me know that you can share my screen and I will move over to it immediately. Screen, please let me know that you can see my screen. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Jane. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so I believe everyone can see my screen. And thank you very much, Esther. Thank you so much. Thank you, Grace. All right, so basically, the session is going to be host. Okay, sorry. I think we have someone waiting. I'm going to. Sorry. The people that are joining will be distracting me a bit. Okay, probably I'll give some time. Okay, can you guys hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly? If you can hear me well, please drop your emoji so I can know. Okay, thank you very much for that. So we are going to start on this. So like I mentioned to you, we are going to be focusing on prompt engineering, right? So this is a prompt engineering bootcamp. So which, as I explained earlier, for those of you that were part of the physical class that I did, uh, prompt engineering is just basically understanding how to build quality prompts, right? So the engineering there, I just feel like it's just a marketing gimmick. It's just like the way you hear things like GTM engineering, which is go-to-market engineering, which has to do more with marketing and how to use marketing technology than anything engineering. When you hear engineering, you're looking at code, you're looking at soft back end and all the rest of it, right? So, but GTM has to do with it's more of marketing than building, right? Although you get to build things, but most times you might even use low code and no code tools. So it's the same thing that has to do with prompt engineering. I don't know who came up with that name, but basically it's just understanding how to use prompts to generate the reactions that you want from your AI. Now, that means that you'll be working with large language models and basically generative AI. So maybe you want to create a video, maybe you want to create an audio, however that you want to do it, you just need to understand how can I give the quality prompts that will give me quality results. And there are different strategies that most people use. There are people that go for the long, detailed prompts, and there are people that go for short bursts of prompts. And what I mean by short bursts is, for instance, you engineer your prompt and then you give it to the AI. You don't give it the task yet. You don't tell it, you don't give it the full detail. So you give it a context and tell it to bear it in mind. Then you give it another context and tell it to bear it in mind. Then you ask your question and then it answers you. So it's like a conversation, and then you tell it what next to do. You revise the answer that it gave to you, and or there are people that love building out their prompts in session, and there are people that love giving the AI a detailed one-off prompt. So I am more or less, most times it depends on what I want to achieve, right? I use both methods depending on the use case. I will be focusing on, there's a formula that I use. I call it PC theft framework, right? So the PC theft, P stands for persona, C stands for context, T stands for your task, then E stands for exemplar, F for format, and then the last T for tone, right? So you are going to learn how to use this and how to utilize it. Now, for this session, the goal is that I want you to understand how to be able to use this framework to engineer whatever you want to do. And then you are also going to look at the analytical thinking that goes behind this framework, and as well as the logic you use, because this is what is going to guide you to understand if the AI is giving you what you actually want. Because one of the challenges with AI is that AI hallucinates a lot. So it might be giving you, I think it was 2 days ago or thereabouts, yesterday, I was watching a video where someone was complaining about how ChatGPT was giving them a prompt. In fact, it was giving them an answer that wasn't even necessarily what the case was. So I can't really remember the scenario. However, at the end of it, they used Gemini, and Gemini debunked everything that ChatGPT gave to them. So they now came back to challenge ChatGPT that why would you give us? And ChatGPT agreed that, oh, I actually gave everything I gave to you was false. So, and imagine that kind of scenario, and you prompt an AI, and then it eventually gives you an information or a result which you feel is true based on data, only for you to go out there, utilize it, and then you find out that this particular data that was given to you by AI is actually false. That can be damaging. Now imagine working for a real brand, and then this is what you are facing, right? That means you are ruining somebody's business and you want to avoid it. So one of the things about AI is that AI, just like the computer is, it's a garbage in, garbage out situation, right? It's a garbage in, garbage out scenario where whatever you give to the AI, that is what it's going to give you back. Okay, whatever you give to it, that is what it's going to give you back. Now, if you understand this, that means that you want to ensure that your prompt is quality enough. And when I say quality, I don't just mean making it too long, because you can have a very short prompt that has a higher quality than a long detailed prompt that lacks the basic structure, which is why we are looking at this framework. So let's do a little bit of introduction. Just about, as I've mentioned everything there, I don't think I have to go through the reason why we are focusing on quality, but just like I mentioned, I think according to a 2023 study by MIT researchers, they noticed that professionals using AI saw a 40% increase in productivity, and of course an 18% increase in work quality. However, that is only when they understand how to utilize this AI, how to instruct it properly. So that is what we are going to do today. We are going to do a little bit of machine language learning, right? Because these large language models use natural language processing. So we are going to understand how can we use our natural language to get out the results that we desire from AI, right? And just like I mentioned, one of the problems that you are noticing is that we are in the age of garbage in, garbage out. So if you give the AI a stupid prompt, in quote, let me just permit me to use that word, it's going to give you a stupid answer. That's just how it is. It's a machine, it's not human, and it's using information that it has been trained for. They call it GPT. That is generative pre-trained model. That's what GPT stands. Generative pre-trained transformer, rather. That's what it stands for. So it's already been trained using a particular set of data, right? So if you give it whatever, if you give it something and you don't reset, in fact, if you are not sure of what you are asking, it's not going to give you what you are looking for, because it's also going to be confused. So you end up confusing, and in fact, the AI will end up confusing you at the end of it. So you need to also be detailed in what you want to ask it, so that when it's giving you a wrong answer or it's going in the wrong direction, right? Because this thing is a slippery slope based on all the times. There are times I've done a 3-hour session where I'm prompting an AI, and I was using AI to build out like a full stack business structure for a business that I want to launch. And I had to, first of all, because I know the direction I'm heading towards, so I had to start from a particular direction. I had to start by asking it a general question, and then he answered the question. I looked at what he gave me, and then I became detailed and specific with my question. And then from there, gradually, I started building out the structure, and layer upon layer, I was able to get to where I got to. And along the line, while it's answering those things, I'm also outputting different documents. So I had like about either 12 to 15 documents, different strategic documents to use to deploy this the business, right? The reason why I didn't go out, remember I told you there are two ways to do this. So the first way is by you utilizing the long detailed prompt. Now, in this particular case of scenario, because I had like different branches of a particular business, it's like a house of brand. I can't just tell the AI to build this for that whole business, because I needed to understand a lot of things that are going on behind the scene in terms of the legal structure. So if you don't even understand what you want to prompt the AI for, you are already having an issue. So the first thing you need to do, even before you start engineering your prompt, is that you need to do your research to understand what you want out of this AI, like the end goal, before you start prompting. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, go to the AI and tell it, oh, I want to get this result, write or devise a prompt that can help me achieve this. Well, as much as that might work, on certain contents, it might also not work for you. And by the way, there are also things that are called skills. So when we start talking about cloud skills, I think recently I was playing around with the AI, right? Because I had limited access to cloud skills because I'm not using a pro account, but I have a Gemini Pro account. So what I did was I created a Gemini gem and I started training it using skills that I've gotten from Claude. So what I will do is I will go to Claude and Claude Code, and I will tell it to build using the skill builder skill. There's something called the skill builder skill. Don't worry, we'll get to. I'll show you guys all of these things as we progress. So I told it to build out a skill for a foundational writing. So I told it build a foundational writing skill. Then I gave it details and I gave it documents. I also gave it videos of what I want this foundational skill to look like. I told it the direction that I wanted to go, and then it built out the skill for me. So what I did was I exported the skill and I copied the skill document and I went to Gemini. I added it as one of the skills for the Gemini gem. And what I told it was, before you start writing anything, initiate this skill. And when you are done initiating, I gave it like 2 skills. I have like 5 other skills that I'm building as well. I think you build your foundational skill, then you build your contextual skill, and then you build your specific skills, which are, for instance, for writing, because I'm a copywriter and an email marketer, I also do marketing automation. So what I do is, first of all, foundational writing, it did that. Then I now built another one for tone, right? And once I did that, I'm going to now build specific skills. For instance, if I want to write a sales copy, I will give it a detailed framework of what I want. Now, this PC theft framework that I want to show you guys, so you see how the thing becomes broad. So you learn this framework, then you can now use this particular framework to start building out complex skills that you can use to feed to one AI agent. Don't worry, we'll get into, currently we are in the era of agentic AI. Gone are the days where we just do, you prompt an AI and then you run off with it. These days, you can train that particular gem to have all of these things, and then you can link the gem through, there are AI automations that you can use, maybe platforms like Make, platforms like N8N to build APIs and link these things. Yes, I understand I'm using technical jargon right now, but please stay with me. For those of you that are going to join the AI automation bootcamp, that's a totally different thing. Probably after this, we'll get to, it's an advanced class, but this is the basic. If you understand this, then we can move advanced. But first of all, we need to understand it. Forget about the technical jargon I'm using, right? It's just for me to explain and give you an idea, to give you a broader view of what everything entails, right? So looking at some of the AI tools out there, I know you guys already know this thing. That's why I'm not trying to waste time with talking about the theory, right? So looking at the AI tools, so we have the Open AI, and according to this, it says Open AI is the all-rounder. I don't really believe that Open AI is the copywriter. I don't think ChatGPT is good for writing copy. Some other people might digress, right? But I think Perplexity does a good job. And I've heard of, I think it's Julius, either Julius AI or so, or yeah, I think it's Julius. So I've heard about some other AI that can write. I've not explored it. Claude also does a good job when it comes to writing copy. Gemini to a certain extent, but if I'm going to grade them in terms of writing copy, I think I would, for the ones that I've explored, I think I would rate, I don't know if I should rate Perplexity over Claude, but let me just say it's Claude, because Claude has, if you are on Claude paid plan, so you have access to Opus. Opus is the highest. I think that's the top GPT model currently, right? So Opus, I think Opus 4.7 or so. So I'll rate that over Perplexity. So Claude, then Perplexity, then Gemini, and then probably ChatGPT. That's how I see it, right? So, but let's just look at the ones that we have here. So we have ChatGPT. Basically, I don't believe it's best for writing emails, but let's go with what we have. Business ideas, generating outline. Yeah, I think content creation, I think it works for content creation. It does a good job to a certain extent. Then we have Claude, which most people basically use Claude for writing code. So you hear things about Claude Code. I think Claude has built a design tool recently, Claude Design, for building out front end, that is UI, UX of maybe websites, or even doing graphic design tasks as well. So we also have that they say try to copy that sounds human and empathetic, just like I mentioned. Then we have Perplexity. Yeah, Perplexity, one of the things I love about it is that it works based on real-time web research. So before I got my Gemini Pro, when I switched from ChatGPT, I moved to Perplexity, and I was amazed because there were things I was telling ChatGPT to access my YouTube channel, and ChatGPT was telling me, oh, it doesn't have the ability to do that. I mean, I don't know if it does now because I've moved away from ChatGPT. So I used Perplexity, and I was surprised because Perplexity gave me everything I want. In fact, if you are writing a research work, this is another one that I know. I know Perplexity is good when it comes to writing research. So probably you have a thesis that you want to write and you need it to do a couple of things. Even currently, they've integrated what is called Perplexity Computer. So the Perplexity Computer is similar to Claude, to the Claude Code. The difference is that with Perplexity Computer, you get to choose different models. I think there's Claude Sonnet, there's Gemini. So even while inside Perplexity, you can get to explore the other models that other AI tools offer, right? So we have our Notebook LM, which is one of the good ones for students. You know, the sweet thing about Notebook LM is that if you want to write something and you don't want it to show on systems that it was written by AI, you can use Notebook LM. So Notebook LM, as much as it also uses natural language processing to generate text and other things, it is not necessarily a generative AI, sort of, because the reason is this: it doesn't go online to access information that it uses. It uses the information that you give it. So for instance, let's say I want to write out something and I give it only one textbook. Whatever that I'm asking it, that's Notebook LM, is going to be pulling off data from just that textbook. It has the ability to go online and do research, right? But the best use case is you want to curtail the environment. So you want to move away from, so whatever you are doing is not going to show up on the internet as an AI generated content. So what you do most times with Notebook LM, you gather out for researchers, right? That was why I said I was going to show you guys how to use it, especially for your research, for your writing your thesis and all of those things. So you gather your PDFs. Probably you have about 37 PDFs. You have 72 PDFs. You just gather all of those things and then you upload it to Notebook LM. And then that's when you start using it. And then you tell it, oh, do this, summarize this, according to this. What do you think about this? Then you can brainstorm. Or you can even tell it, I want you to write chapter 1 to 3 of my project topic. You list out the topic, of course, using the PC theft framework, right? So you list out the topic, you give it the tone that you want. And then, well, for research writing, you want to keep it professional, right? For your tone. And then you also make sure that you tell it to utilize APA, depending on your reference style, and then also tell it to include in-text citations, right? So you tell it to include in-text citations, and then you also tell it to use the latest referencing style, depending on the referencing style that was given to you by your supervisor. So I think that was that. Let me not say so much. Then Midjourney or DALL-E is for generating visuals, right? Both videos and, of course, images, right? Okay, so let's start looking at the PCTF framework. So I'm going to break it down. So for persona, right? So this is a specific role or expert identity that you want the AI to take upon. You want it to assign that role, and you want it to say, okay, for instance, you are a copywriter. So you want to tell it that this is who you are, this is the role or the persona I want you to take for this particular task that I want you to do for me, right? So you tell it, oh, this is it. Now, there's a reason why you need to do this. So AI has a lot of data points, and then, but if you assign it a persona, it forces it to follow a particular trajectory and the specific lens that it will be using to give you a content. So the major way to use this is just to start your prompt by saying, okay, act as a this, or you tell it to, you are a this, right? So that is how you do those things. Sorry, I'm sorry about that distraction here. So that's how you do it. For instance, this is a use case example. So you say you are an elite direct response copywriter who specializes in Facebook ads for fitness coaches. You can see how specific it is. One of the ways to use this is, I know this is, let me do a little bit of marketing training here. So there's one, it's called your unique selling proposition. And the way to build it is to say, I help X achieve Y by using this, right? So for instance, I help coaches to, or rather, I help stay at home mom lose weight by using keto dieting, right? You are not going to say by using keto dieting, you are going to come up with a unique way, a unique mechanism, right? So that people will not just know that it's keto dieting, because if someone that has tried keto dieting in the past just sees that, they're going to call it fat. Even if your own method will help them, they're going to call it fat and then move on, right? So if you look at this particular one, it means you are a copywriter, you help fitness coaches to improve revenue, right, using Facebook ads. So you help them grow their business profit using Facebook ads. So if you have your USP, you can be able to give yourself a persona. Another one is you are a final year student in Federal University of Technology, Owerri. So it knows that it's a Nigerian university, and your aim is to be able to, so probably let's just say what you want to become the top researcher in Nigeria, right? So you now say, and your project topic is XYZ. You are working with a supervisor who is an expertise in XYZ, like maybe in genomic engineering, right? So that's the persona you want it to take. So it will now ask, okay, this is who I am. This is the personality that I'm going to take on. So after you've given it the persona, you're now going to lay extra context, and that's where the C comes in, context. So the context is the background information. It is also, it has to do with maybe are there limitations that he has to face? Are there advantages that he has, right? So that is where your constraints comes in, and then the specific situation that is surrounding the request that you want to give it. So because this, if you give it context, you are going to remove guessing. You're going to remove guesswork from everything, right? And then it has to prevent it from trying to come up with assumptions, right? Because this is all about clarity. You want to make sure that it's clear. For instance, just like continuing with that, now it's going to provide the who, the what, the where, and the why. Now, remember I said the who, that is who are you doing whatever you are doing for. Then the what is what exactly are you, like what led to you being in this particular situation, right? And then where is this currently happening, or where is this taking you to, or has this placed you? It depends on what you want to define your where as, and why are you facing this, right? Sorry, let me admit someone. Okay. And why are you facing this, right? And an example is this. So if you are using this use case example, you say, my client is a 40-year-old busy dad, right? Who wants to lose 15 pounds, but he only has 20 minutes a day to work out at home with no equipment. You see how detailed it is. So remember, so let's go back to the first one. You are telling me you are an elite direct response copywriter who specializes in Facebook ads for fitness coaches. And my client is a 40-year-old busy dad who wants to lose 15 pounds, but he only has 20 minutes a day to work out at home with no equipment. So you have shown it, there are limitations. This person, imagine saying, oh, write an email for a fitness coach that teaches people how to lose weight. You see how generic that is? But look at this, we are not even done. We have not gotten to the end of it, but even you that is writing out the prompt, you could tell where the direction is heading towards. So let's just continue, course. At the end, you will see where all of this makes sense, right? So let's just continue to the end. So the next one is going to be your task, right? So what task are you giving it to? So you now tell, okay, this is the specific action I want you to perform. So a use case example is going to look something like, write a 300-word email pitching my 4-week home workout program. It's just simple. So another one can be, write my CV for me, right? That's a task. Or write a CV using this particular method. That's also a task, right? So after you've given a task, you can give an example, right? Most times I have documents that I want, if I wanted to replicate the format in that same format that the documents follow, I'll upload the document, and then for the example, I'll just say, I have attached a document for you to use as an example to guide you on how I would love you to format the output you are going to give me. So I'm not just telling it, do it like this. I'm showing it, this is how I want you to do it. So that's what your exemplar does for you. So just looking at what we have on the notes here, it says a sample of your desired output to show AI exactly what good, in quote, looks like. So it's needed because you want, showing it is better than telling. Of course, everybody knows that showing is better than telling. So one of the things that we are going to do is that you paste a previous successful piece of work and say, match this style. It's just simple. So I can use the document like I told you. Most times what I do is, so I don't get to confuse it with the prompt, I will copy out my preferred format. Maybe I have a document that I want to use, and I will just upload. If I don't have a document, I will write out like a style prompt, right? So this is me getting complex and advanced. So I will now write out like a prompt. I will use the AI to tell you, this is what I want. This is the style I want. I want a document in this style. Create a prompt that can generate a document in this style. So once it gives me that prompt, I will take the prompt and I will export it into a document. And once I do that, I will now take the document back and I will tell AI, match the style of this document, or I'll use the prompt to generate a document, and then I'll use the document to tell it match the style, or I will tell it, I have attached a prompt that tells you how the output of this document should be. Review these documents that I've attached and then execute the prompt alongside the task that you are executing. So that one is a complex, it takes it to a deeper learning mode. But the best thing you can do starting out is, when it creates a prompt for you, use the prompt to generate a dummy document, right? So then you now carry that document, download it, and then paste it inside your prompt that you are generating and just tell it, match the style of the attached document. It's just as simple as that. You don't make it complex, yeah? It's just as simple as that. Then the last one, okay, we have format. Sorry, let me admit someone. Let me edit someone. Okay, so then we have format. I've talked about the exemplar, right? So let me give you a use case for the example. Say, here is an example of an email that performed very well for me in the past. Then you will now insert the email inside the prompt too, right? If you don't want to do it, like the way I do mine is, I have a format that I write out my emails. So I think, first of all, I talk about, first of all, what email is this? What day is it going out? What time is it going out? And then I will say, what audience is receiving this? What's, aside the audience that is receiving, what is the temperature of audience? What is the segment that will be receiving it? Which part of the email sequence does it come in? And then you write the preview text for me. You write an alternate preview text, and then you give me the subject. Okay, I've talked about, sorry, you write the subject line, alternate subject line, then give me preview text, right? And then write the body of the copy, close with a city. Now, even before I do this, the email that I'm going to use to train it in this prompt, I've already done a detailed analysis. Like, I've used a prompt to just generate the email, and I make sure that the prompt has the PC theft framework, so that even the body, I will tell you how to write the body of the email. So use either PAS, make sure that your hook is like this. Then make sure that this is how you do it. You do hook, then you do this, you write body, you educate and give value, you do this, then you do call to action, you place a button, you put a PS. All this is, I will use it to build out one email. That is going to be like my generic template. Then I can now use that template to now train it on whatever. Every time I want it to write an email, I'll tell it, follow this method. So like when I told you I was building skills and gem, that was what I did. So I trained the gem. I call it, I think, branding strategies or thereabout. So I will train the gem with those documents that I have, like, because there's already a way I would love my document to come out, and there's an output that I'm expecting of you. So I would make sure that I train you with this, so that when you want to give me an information, that is how you are doing it for me. Okay, so that's just it. It's when you start doing it and when you start practicalizing with AI, you start enjoying the flow, right? But then you also want to be careful that you don't get down into the brain dump as area of AI, because there's a place where people are even using AI to do something as generic as a comment on LinkedIn or even on social. People are even using AI to chat on WhatsApp. Writing is not difficult. Writing is not difficult, right? AI has always been here. I don't know, for those of you that started writing earlier, there were the days of Grammarly, there were the days of Qbot. These were writing assistants. In fact, I used Grammarly when I was still doing my project in school, when I was in university. So what it just helps you to do is to correct mistake, typographic errors that you made, and then also for your sentence structure. If there is a mistake, because you are working with, if you are writing a research, there's a format that you have to follow in terms of structuring your sentences. So if there's a mistake, it helps you correct it. And this was before the buzz of the whole AI everywhere. AI. I mean, AI has already been there. Even your shuffling list on maybe Spotify and Netflix, your Netflix recommendation, those things are AI. Oh, I noticed that you like watching Korean movie. Have you seen this Korean movie before? Okay, have you seen this latest Korean movie? Oh, I noticed you love watching a horror movie. Have you seen this latest horror movie? Those things are just recommendations, and they were all AI models, just that they were not generative, right? But with the rise of generative AI, I think we got into the AI boom era, right? So I just wanted you guys to have an idea that this thing has always been there. So don't try to replace your brain with AI, okay? Then lastly is going to bring us to, okay, I've not talked about format yet. So format, and for the format is just the physical layout and structure of what you want. I think I've already talked about that when I mentioned about this. So it can save you stress. For instance, you want to export the document, or you want it to write the document in an Excel format. You can tell it ahead of time. Give me this in a PDF format. Give me this in a Word document format. Give me this in an Excel format. So for that, what you can say, how to use it, right? So let me just talk about that, because I noticed something that I love. So they say you can specify which part you want to contain tables. You can specify where you want it to use bullet points. You can specify if you want it to use markdown, or are there specific lengths. Oh, this should not be more than 250 words. Oh, whatever you are generating for me should not be more than 5 or you say each paragraph. Now, see, it should not be more than 250 words. It should contain 5 paragraphs, and each paragraph should not be more than 2 sentences. You are giving it limited. We call it guardrail. So when you are building AI, there are things that are called guardrail, because you don't want the AI, you want to constrain it, you want to contain it within a particular space. You say, hey, don't run off wild and start gathering. No, stay within this limit. I want to limit you, right? So those are things that you also do for your AI to make sure that they are working within the boundaries of how you want them to work. Sorry, I don't know if I admitted someone. Okay, I think I did. Sorry about that. So let's look at an example. And an example is, you say format the output as a 2-column table. Column A is the workout day, and column B is the exercise routine. Then the last one is going to be the tone. So the tone is just the emotional vibe, the reading, and then the reading level of the output, right? If you are writing anything online, especially if you are into copywriting or you are into content writing, in fact, if you are doing anything with people online, because we tell people, you write the way you talk. That's one of the sweet thing about copywriting. It even trains you to know how to communicate. So you write the way you talk, and that means you are going to be writing using conversational tone. That word, you can never go wrong with it. When you say write in a conversational, for me, I say write in a conversational and friendly tone, right? So I don't want to keep it, I can say you can keep it mildly professional, depending on the platform that I'm writing for. right? And depending on what I'm writing for, if I'm writing a script for a video, it's going to be different. If I'm writing a content that is going to be used for an ad, it's going to be different. If I'm writing an email, there are different things that I want to, right? So, and I love storytelling so much. I love storytelling so much. So most times I also write in the style of storytelling. Okay, so just to quickly round up with the content. So they say the emotional vibe, the reading level of the output, and all of those things. So this is how you try to break, the whole AI robotic voice. And the funny thing is that one of the things I've even noticed, even while I tell them write in a conversational tone, the AI does this thing that I've noticed. I don't know if it's Gemini, if it's unique to just Gemini, sorry. So it will say something like, you are not just a marketer, you are a this, or it is not just a this, it is a this. And I'm like, we don't talk that way, right? So one of the things I will tell you is this: most people feel like you just write with AI and then you call it a day. No. In fact, AI has made writing difficult because you
Sorry, is it just me? We can't hear you any longer. Hello, Mr. Presenter, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I don't think he's aware of that. I think his network from his own side. Yes, I think it's his network. Okay, while we are waiting for his network to come back, can we do a little recap? Like, he made mention of the PC dev framework and the PC dev framework. So, while we are still waiting for him to come back, please can we all hear me? Please?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so while
Yes,
I'm waiting for his network to thank you. I'm waiting for his network to come back. I'm going to do a little recap. So, we can like remind us. He said P6 text framework. Now, what does P mean? What does C mean? What does D mean? This kind of things. Does anybody have an answer to that? Nobody has an answer to that. Does that mean that we have not been in this class together? Hello? Okay, Faith said P is personal. C is context. Do you have any other answer for theft? TEFT. Because I believe we're all seeing his screen at some point. So even if you not hear him, we saw his screen, we saw some things written down there. Wow. Jane said she barely heard most of the information. So we have T for task, E for exemplar. Who can like tell for exemplar? It is literally written by the side. Say it. It's like literally wrote down everything because it's just dropping episodes left and right. Okay, so now we have listed everything. It's like P for personal, C for context, C for type, E for exemplar, F for format, and T for tone. Okay, so after listening out all of this, can anybody explain in like detail? Like what is tone, what did he say tone means, what did he say tax means, what did he say example means, this kind of thing. Can anybody explain? I said, can anybody explain like little bits of what you understand from P, from C, from D, from E, F, T? What do you understand by each of them? Okay, you missed some parts, but which part did you listen to? Which part did you hear? That's what I want. We can't all just be silent, or does that mean that we literally did not hear anything that was said throughout the entire period? Who wants to try it? Is there anybody that wants to try? Okay, Moon said context is the information you feed AI. All right, right. Any other person? You're committed to what do they call this thing? Unmute yourself and speak, please. Keep typing. Honestly, it's not me. Please, if you want to speak, go ahead.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, I didn't join early for the class, but I got the one of example. That's E. So he said you prompt the AI on what you want it to do, what you want it to type, the document you want it to type. Then you send an example of the kind of document you want. So it follows that format, the format of the document that you sent to it to create yours. Um, that was one thing I got.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much for paying attention to the class. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Tracy. Any other person? Okay, Samikil is here. So please, you're muted.
Okay. Yeah, can you hear me now? Can you all hear me, please? Okay, thank you very much. I'm so sorry for that. I don't know what happened, but I just noticed I was having a technical issue. So thank you so much for pointing that to me. Where did we stop? Like, where did you stop hearing me? Someone can let me know. Where did you stop hearing me? So I'll continue from there. Anyone, please let me know. So I'll just continue from where you stopped. Where did you stop? Okay, I think someone wants to be admitted. Yes. Sorry, let me admit this person. Okay, the person has been admitted. Okay, stop at format. Oh wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Grace. Okay, so I believe you all can see my screen. I believe you can see my screen. Okay, someone wants to say something. Please, Wisdom, what do you want to say? Hello, Wisdom. What do you want to say? Your hand is up. If you are saying something, you are muted. Okay, so Cherry said I stopped at one of the ways of copywriting. Okay. Wisdom, can you hear me? If you are saying something, you are muted because your hand is up. Okay, maybe I'm guessing that's a mistake. So sorry. I will just proceed here. So at formats, yeah. So back to format, as I was saying, um, how to use it is for you to specify the tables, talk about the bullet points, maybe markdowns, or if you want specific lengths. And I was saying that for specific lengths, you are looking at, okay, probably I want this to be 250 words long, and I want it to have as much as it's 250 words long, right? So I want it to be 250 words long, have maybe contain 5 paragraphs. Now, for each paragraph should not be longer than 2 sentences. Like, these are limitations. So there are limitations that you want to give AI. So you want to create a guardrail for it, such that you don't want it to go beyond the limits of this. So that is how you want to do these things. So those guardrails are things that prevent the AI from going beyond what you want it to do, because there are times that you just want it to say. I think there are times that I've instructed AI when I was starting out. I would tell it whenever, okay, one of the things I did then, that was before they started introducing skills and all those guardrails. So one of the things I was doing then was I would tell the AI, I would say, how is the weather in Japan? I'm just making an example, right? So how is the weather in Japan? It will not tell the weather in Japan is, it will now give me some long stuff. I'll tell them no. I say, whenever I ask you how is this, I just need one simple answer, 1 sentence long. Don't exceed that. So, and it said noted, and it has taken it as part of the way I wanted to respond. So that was when I was training. You know, remember there was a time they would say, oh, train your AI, train your AI, train your AI to understand you, that kind of stuff. So these days it has gone advanced much more than that. So now you build skills. You also create there. I will show you guys like a back end of what my Gemini looks like. I think I've given my Gemini too much headache, right? That was why I decided to start building gems, and I started exploring Claude. So let me just quickly show you. So for the format, the example for the use case is format this output as a 2-column table. So column A is the workout day and column B is the exercise routine. You can see how simple that is. And then the last one is tone. So as I was explaining, tone is all about the emotional vibe, the reading that you have to do, and then the reading level. So whenever you are writing, I was telling you that one of the ways for you to use copywriting is that you want to write in a conversational tone. So for me, I tell it to write in a playful and conversational tone because that is my own writing style. Like, that's my own brand style. So if I want to talk about my brand tone, that is the way my brand tone is. So it's friendly, it's conversational, and it's fun, right? I don't write. There are people that write witty, right? So if you're working with a brand that uses a witty tone of voice, then you want to make sure that whatever content or copy that you're writing for them must follow a witty tone of voice. So you want to make sure that you inject that into whatever prompt you want to give your AI. So let's say you can see here, they say give it 3 to 4 adjectives and a reading level. So what it means is that, for instance, you say use a bold, empathetic, friendly tone. keep the reading level below grade level 8 and do not use corporate jargon. So you are also these are like limitations and guardrails you give to AI to say, just do it this particular way. This is how I want you to do it. For instance, if I'm building out, because what I've done with the skills now is that I have like a tone, a brand, either brand voice skill that I've created. And what that does is that it has like series of steps and some required documents that I will need from a brand for me to build out a brand tone of voice document for them. So if what I told it to do was this. I said, if I tell you to write, for instance, I tell it to write a marketing copy for me. First of all, it will go down to check, is this a new brand? If the answer is yes, it will now tell me, okay, give me information on this. Like, I want to know what this brand is all about. Give me their brand playbook. I will give you the brand playbook. Then that's okay, good. This brand playbook, do they have a brand tone of voice? They don't. I'm going to build a tone of voice document. I will need information on it. Will now list things that it wants me to give it. I will give it to the AI, and then it will build out a brand tone of voice document for them. Now, why am I building out these things? Because when I want to now start writing copy, I can tell it this is their tone of voice document, this is their playbook, this is what their brand mission is all about, this is the structure, this is how their courses are layered, these are the offers that they have. And all of these things are going to guide it to say, this is what I'm going to give you. Now, let's bring it down to an educational setting, right? So you want to tell it that, oh, this is what I'm doing. For instance, you can tell it to, if you are going to be writing my seminar from now henceforth, these are the guardrails that I want you to work within. This is how I want you to output this stuff. So you tell it, and the tone you would always use for me is this. However, if you are someone that also works for other brands, you tell it, however, before you start working for me, ask me if you are working for me or you are working for another brand. The AI understands. So those things, you will just inject it into its foundation. Like, it's like you are retraining the AI specifically for yourself. So not the way they've trained it. They've trained it with document and data. Now you are training it with context. So you are giving it a contextual training for it to work the way you want it to work. Right. So that is that for the PC theft framework. So right about now, I would want to take questions. So if you have any question, please, you can go ahead and ask your question. So if you don't have any question, please, you can react, and then I'll continue with it. So in case you don't want to type, you can also, in case you don't want to talk, sorry, you can also type in the chat. Do you have any questions so far? Do you guys understand? If you understand what I'm saying, please react to it. So let's know that we are all together in this. So if there's something that I'm saying that is confusing you, please speak up, right? This is the reason why you are here. So, okay, thank you so much, Cherish. You understand what I'm saying? Is she the only one that understands me? I believe we are all here together. Okay, thank you, Faith. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, everybody. Okay, thank you, Blessing. Thank you, Femi. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Grace. Thank you very much. Okay, so I will proceed without any question. But along the line, if you now come up with a question, then you can let me know. Okay, thank you, Amici. I can see you understand everything that I'm saying. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so I will proceed with, I'll leave the chat open just in case someone drops a message. Right. Okay, so let's look at tying everything down together, right? So I've talked about the PC theft. So let's look at bringing these components. Okay, sorry, let me quickly admit someone. So let's look at bringing these components together. Okay. I think the person has been admitted. All right, thank you. So let's look at bringing it together. So I created 3 different group of individuals. So one is small businesses, SMEs, and then the other one are students and researchers. And then the last one is if you want to learn an online skill. So what would using this PC theft framework to research for online skill that you want to learn, what would it look like? So let's start from small businesses. So maybe you are someone that is working for a small business. So the persona is this. Say, act as an expert digital marketer. Now, one of the things that I do is that I run a local family bakery, and we are launching a weekly sourdough bread subscription for busy moms who want healthy fresh breads but don't have the time to bake. Now, you see, they identify a problem that these people have and then a limitation to the problem. You say, write a Facebook ad to drive sign up for our new subscription. Match the vibe of this example ad we love. So now this is the example of the ad. Tired of store-bought cardboard? Get fresh bread delivered. I mean, that's generic. I'm not even going to use that as an example. But let's just continue. I hope you get. So the format is format the output with a punchy headline, 3 bullet points of benefits, and a clear call to action at the bottom. Keep the tone warm, appetizing, and friendly. Grade level 8. That is going to be the maximum reading level, right? So you can see how it puts it out. To me, this is just a basic prompt. Of course, it was generated by AI. If I was going to write this, I would write something more detailed than this, but it still works to give you an idea of how to use the PC test. You can see that it's not just basic, create a Facebook ad for my company. We sell bread. That's lean, right? So let's look at the other one. So the other one is for students and researchers. So say, act as a senior academic tutor, and I am a university student who is studying cognitive psychology, and I need to understand the dense 40. Okay, that means there's a what is it called? There's a 10 paper given to them. So maybe the lecturer gives you a material, and you want to summarize that material, and you want to understand. You can even use this AI to say, go through this material, look at these exam past questions. You can now snap the past question and answer that you have and say, look at this past question and answer. Go through this material. Use the materials or use the information in the material and then answer these questions. In this, identify repeating. You can tell it, look at this past question. You can upload 10 years or 5 years and say, identify repeating questions. That's questions that repeat each year. And then using the information in this material, write out answer to this, and then export it as a document. Okay, so someone said, can you repeat the second on which is student and researchers? Okay, so I'm still on it, right? The one for students and researchers, I've not completed it, but I'm just giving you an answer. For instance, you have an exam coming up and you have materials, there are plenty, and you feel like, oh, there's no much time. You can take those materials, go into your AI tool, and then upload the material, all of them, and then tell it, oh, look at this material. Then you upload all the past questions that you have and say, identify repeating pattern in this question and identify questions that are repeating each year. Then using those information from these materials that I've uploaded, answer those questions, right? Answer those questions in a way that you can now tell it, I want you to answer it. Anyone that needs a diagram, use a diagram, but answer the questions exhaustively, right? But answer it in a way that I can understand it using grade level 8, and then answer it in a way that it is easier for me to assimilate such that I can replicate it in the exam hall. Then you now tell you, remember, I am a student in XYZ, maybe in Nigeria university and all. So it will not start using foreign standard to give you answers. So that's one way. But the prompts we have here, it says, you are like the way I love doing, instead of saying act as, I'll just say, you are a senior academic tutor, and I am a student studying cognitive psychology. I need to understand this dense 40-page paper on neuroplasticity before my seminar tomorrow, right? You say your task is to summarize the core arguments, methodology, and findings of the pasted text. Make it look like this example structure. You say TLDR. That is, TLDR is too long, didn't read. That's what it means. Like the text is too long, so you didn't get to. If it's too long and you don't have time to read it, there's something called TLDR, which is sort of like a 2-sentence summary of whatever long document they sent. So you say use this structure TLDR. The study found X, the methodology is Y, and the findings are Z. So you say the format the response with a 1-paragraph TLDR at the top, followed by a bullet list of 5 key takeaways. right? And the tone is keep the tone objective but highly accessible. Explain complex terms simply as if I am a beginner. You see how detailed this prompt is. Now imagine, don't worry, I will still give you guys access to all these prompts so that you can use it to maybe play around, carry the prompt, put it inside a document and do all those things. So now imagine the normal basic prompt. Oh, this is my the PDFs I'm using for my seminar. Summarize this thing as a seminar topic and give me. It's just going to give you a vague generic answer. But imagine when you make your prompt this detailed. So it's going to give you a higher quality output that when people see it, they'll be surprised. Oh, you were able to generate this using, and you tell them I generated this in 5 minutes. They'll be surprised. How did you go about it? You know, that kind of stuff. So the last one is for if you want to learn an online skill. Let's say you want to learn a new online skill. So it's going to tell you this: act as a world-class tech instructor. I am a complete beginner. For me, one of the things I want to also understand, like I told you, if AI gives me a response, I would go back and revise it. So for me, if I'm writing this prompt, because one of the things I love is fluidity. That's one thing about the way we talk. Someone will not just go and say, act as a copywriting coach, do this. There's no fluidity to it. So what I normally do is that I'll say, you are a world-class tech instructor that has this experience on this, and you have been running a YouTube channel for the past XYZ. You also own an agency that outsources people to do this. You see how detailed the persona I'm building for it is, right? So when I give it all those, but I'll now tell it, I have just booked a session. I have just booked a consultation session with you, and I am a beginner who wants to learn Python for data analysis to transition into a remote tech job. I only have 1 hour a day to practice after work. Your task is to create a 30-day study curriculum for me. Model the pacing after this example. So you now add an example. Week 1, the basics, variable loops. Then week 2, data structure. Then then the format you want it to use is that you are going to output this as a 4-column table: day, topic, time required, and then practice exercise. You now tell it, keep the tone highly encouraging and structured, and strictly avoid using confusing technical jargons. You see how this is structured and how this is detailed. It all makes sense when you do it. And now, one of the things I want you to pay attention to, because you'll be wondering, you ask yourself, will I now be able to know all these things? Now, for instance, it's telling you basics, variable loops, week 2, data structures, and you're wondering, I don't know these things. That's why I want to learn, right? One of the things I'm going to tell you, like I mentioned earlier when we started, was that there's a place of research when it comes to building out your prompt. Like, you need to even know what you want, right? If you want to learn, for instance, you want to learn an online skill, it's different that you're telling it, analyze this and suggest to me what online skill do you think I would learn based on my temperament or based on my the budget I have, right? It's different because you want to brainstorm with it. That's a different ballgame. But when you've understood that, okay, I want to learn copyright. Let's say, for instance, you want to learn copywriting. You are now going to do research. Okay, what does copywriting entail? How long does it take one to become a copy? By the time you are done with all of these things, you can now use the information you've gathered and say, okay, build out a strategic plan for me that I want to follow. That at the end of this plan, if it's a 30-day plan, you tell it to map it out. At the end of the 30 days, your goal is that you would have understood the concept of copywriting. Then if you now understand, you can now be like, okay, I understand the concept of that. Build out a 30-day plan on client acquisition. Give me detailed tasks that I will do. Your goal is that you output this in a format where for day 1, I am doing this. For day 2, I am doing this. For day 3, you can tell it, give me 3 tasks to do each day that will, at the end of 1 week, I would have attracted 1 client. It will do that for you. But you need to know what you want, right? So you need to know what you want. Okay. So here is the thing. I think with that, we have come to the end of today's one. Like I told you, today is basically focused on introducing you to the concept of PC theft. Now, the assignment I'm going to give you is that I want you to use this PC theft, that's the framework, to build up something. Or let's even try to do a practical one, right? I need like, okay, I need like two persons that can volunteer. Let's just do a little bit of a practical session before we call it a night. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to be looking at LinkedIn. And then we are also going to be looking at building out your CV, right? So first of all, we'll look at building out your CV, and we're going to use this PC theft concept because there are certain things that I would want to show you guys when it comes to building out CV. Probably if you are building out or engineering your prompt, there are some new elements that I would love to introduce to you, especially when you don't have a CV, like you've never built one before. Okay, so I need two people that are willing. Sorry. Okay. Oh, my bad. My bad. So sorry, Grace. I really apologize for the network. I really wish there was a better way. It's part of the challenges that we face as online business persons, especially working from Nigeria. But I promise you that I will do better next time, probably by the grace of God. Tomorrow should be better than today. Hopefully, even the technical issues that we're facing, I'll try to look at a way for us to curtail it. So I'm so sorry. I apologize to you for that. Okay. One of the things that you will do is the recording for this session will be available. So I will upload it on YouTube so that it's going to be accessible for you. So after the session, probably maybe tomorrow's afternoon, right? I would upload it on YouTube so that you can get access to it and then go through it before the class. Right. So does anyone want to volunteer? Let's do a little bit of practical session. Right. So let's just do a little bit of practical. Who wants to volunteer for us? I need two people. Okay, someone is raising their hand. Okay, thank you. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Grace. Who wants to volunteer? Nobody wants to. Wait, does it look difficult? Does it look difficult? So I'm going to stop presenting. Or should I just quickly show? Okay, let me quickly show you guys the back end for Gemini. By the way, this is what Claude looks like. So this is what my Gemini looks like. While he's waiting, okay. What would you have us do? Thank you, Onyekachi. So what I want you to do is this. I want you to come up with, okay, the task. Good, thank you, fantastic. So the task is this. Let's say, okay, can someone tell me something that they would like to do? Right, so because I want to make it something that is unique to you so that it will be that you are the one that came up with, okay, I want to do this, but I want to create a prompt around it. So I'll be working with Onyekachi and Jane. So where you guys are, can you unmute yourself? If it's not possible, you can still type. I'll just read out what you typed and I'll carry everybody along. Or would you prefer that I give you a task? Okay, so well, I think the network is even from my own end because the network is bad. This is taking time to load. Even Claude is taking time to load. So probably tomorrow during the practical session, you will all see this happening live. Okay. They say everybody's telling me to give the task. Okay, fine. Let me give you the task. So this is what the task is going to be. Oh, by the way, I can't stop sharing. Let me stop sharing. Yes, you can. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. So let's say your task is, I've given you a task to, maybe you have a term paper that you're going to write on toxicology of, should I say, let me not do something that is scientifically inclined. Of course, we are all scientists. And as much as I would love to do that, let me try something that is basic. Okay, fact. I've given you a document, like I gave you an ebook, and I told you to summarize. Okay, I gave you an ebook, the book Chino Achebe, Things Fall Apart, and I told you to summarize the book. In fact, I told you to highlight your 3 key takeaways from the book. So how are you going to? What type of prompt are you going to use? build out a prompt using the PC theft framework. So the task is this, right? The task is this. Please, Esther, you can help me type out the task in the chat so people can see it. So the task is, I gave you an ebook, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. And then I told you, what is your key takeaway from the story? Your goal is to build a prompt for this task using the PC theft framework. Do you guys understand it? Do you understand? Is it simple? I hope it's simple. It's not it's not sounding complex. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please let me know that you can hear me. Also, if you got the task, okay, thank you. So did you guys get the task? Did you understand the question? Do you understand the task I gave you? Okay, all right. So someone, where's Onyekachi? Okay, Cherish says she doesn't understand. Okay, let me explain again. Okay, Faith says she didn't get it. Okay, Onyekachi says it's possible to do. We understand a bit. Okay, please explain one more time. All right, so here is the thing. Your goal is to build up a prompt to summarize your key takeaway. Okay, let me just say one key takeaway. In fact, 3. So your goal is to summarize 3 key takeaways from the book, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe using the PC theft framework. I think Esther just posted it there. Is there a way for me to pin this? Okay, I can't actually pin this on the chat. But if you look at it, you'll see there. So you build a prompt to summarize your key takeaway. So 3 key takeaways, that's what I want you to give me. From the book, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, and you're going to use the PC theft framework. Do you understand it now? If you understand, react with an emoji, so I'll know you understand. If you understand, react with an emoji. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Faith, do you now understand it? Hello, Faith, do you get the task? Also, Cherish, do you get the task? Do you understand? Jane, how about you? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. All right, Jane, thank you. So who is going first? Who is going to represent the females? Who is going to represent the women? Because I know that from my experience, women are good too when it comes to prompting. So do you want to prove me wrong? The guys, you can challenge them. Onyekachi, I think you are representing the guys. I hope you are a guy, so I don't. If you are a guy, please just give me a thumbs up so I know that. So I don't give you a false gender identity. Okay, thank you. So Oya, please. Who is going first? Who is going first? Who is going first? Jane, are you going first? Please. So we don't waste more. See, okay. Let me tell you guys something about me and something about my classes here. As much as it's practical, there's no right or wrong answer. Do you understand? There's no right or wrong answer. So whatever you say is right. Right? It's right. Because you are saying it from your own context. The only thing is that I will just point you in the right direction when it comes to my context. Okay. So there's no right or wrong answer, please. All right. So I'm waiting. If you can't talk, you can type it out. I know it's a lot. Or should we break it down together? Okay, so what persona? Because why I gave you this open blank space? I can just say we should break it down together. We should break it down together. So, cause do you know why I told you guys to do it yourselves? In fact, let's do it this way. I think it will make sense. So everybody is that's going to be assignment. We are going to review it on tomorrow's session. Yes, because I don't want to spoon feed you. So you go and give it. Thank you so much, Cherish. So you go and give it a persona. Then you already have the context. So just expand on the context. Then you give The task already, that's the task. So it's as easy as copy and paste. That's the task there. Then you give you can look for an example of how you want the output to look like. Then you drop your format and then you add your tone. Like how, so let me just give you one thing. Always make sure, especially when it comes to writing, is that you tell it write at grade level 8. That is when you are doing sales copy or you are writing content online. However, if you are writing for professionals, this is another thing I want you to. So you're not going to always be saying use grade level 8, use grade level 8. If you are writing for professionals, let's say you are writing to bankers or you're writing to people in finance. So based on the context that you will give it, you tell it if it's a seminar presentation that you want to create a slide for. So this presentation is going to be happening at the AACA or ACAA conference 2026. And since there are going to be financial professionals and executive and career persons available, I would want you to incorporate financial terminologies. Now, you that is going to be a scientist, you want to make sure that whatever you are writing is going to be using, unless they told you to explain using your own words. You see where even the task that is given to you also determine the input that you give to it. So if I give you an assignment and I say, explain using your own words, in your own understanding. So that's when you can now tell it to write according to your own reading level. So if your level is at grade level 8, if your level is at grade level 7, so instead of, because if you are asked to explain a scientific terminology, it wouldn't make sense you telling it to still explain it using scientific terminologies. Maybe they ask you, explain what photosynthesis is to a layman. And you now start explaining photosynthesis using scientific jargon. So that defeats the purpose of the task that was given to you. So I don't know if that is clear to everyone. So just bear it at the back of your mind when you want to start building out your prompt. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, thank you so much, Jane. You understand. Thank you, Cherish. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Faith. Thank you so much, Esther. Thank you, Overcomer. Thank you, everybody. With that, we have come to this session. So I am waiting for you. Does anyone have any question? Does anyone have any question regarding what we just talked about today? If you have a question, please, you can raise your hand and then speak or drop it in the chat. Thank you. There's I think that's an addition to what I said. Okay, so Nyekachi is saying that it is best I try and fail so I'll know where to work on. Can I try? All right, sure. Please go ahead, by all means. Okay. Okay, Jane also you say something about reading levels. Okay, I will come to you, Jane. All right, please. If you have other questions, keep on dropping them. All right, Onyekachi, the floor is yours.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, for the assignment, I was thinking the first context or the first role I'm going to give the AI is going to be, I want to say students, but a research student.
You're doing well. You're doing well. Go on.
Yeah. And then I'll say we are given the assignment to go through Chinachibe's book, Things Falling Apart. And we are to give key points, 3 key points to the book and what we understand from it. Then for the task, I would say write out 3 key points with detailed headlines on each of each section of the book, or each outline of the book, detailing the transition from the reason the point was made and why the point was made. Then for the example, I'll say following the context bring your, like, let your results be in alignment with the documents provided.
So that means you are going to provide it with documents, right?
Yes, the ebook.
Okay. The ebook. Okay, continue. Continue when you're done.
Okay. Then for the formats, if it's just a 3 points and 3 keywords or 3 key points, it should be, let's say, 300 words. So it could be 300 words format with a descriptive and conversational tone. Yeah, the tone will be descriptive and conversational with objective.
Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. So let's celebrate him now for showing up, for at least talking. So it's not easy. It's not easy. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. So I'm not going to, because if I break it down, this is an assignment. Everybody will start getting an idea of it, and people would. But then, one of the things I would point out is when it comes to your exemplar, yeah. So using the document that was given to you, you are if you tell it to use that document as an example, that means you are indirectly asking it to follow the format of writing a full book, which is not something you want. So if you have like an exemplar document, you can attach that exemplar document to it. And what I mean is this. For instance, I really wish I could share my screen right away, but let me just explain. So there's this, when I'm doing email marketing, right, there's this format that is being used. There's this format that is being used. Probably I would say brand name, then their, what is it called? Their tagline, and that is going to be it. Then the next one is now going to be probably the project name, the project duration, so all those things. So when I give it the exemplar, I'm not going to now include those detailed things in my prompt anymore, because the document there will show it what I need it to do, like the output I needed to give to me. Do you understand? So it will now follow, it will read that document, then give itself just behind the scene. It will add that layer to the prompt, and then it will generate exactly as that document is. For instance, if you are trying to generate an image, maybe there's a photo style you like so much, and then you have your picture, you will give it your picture, and you will tell it the picture format should come out like the example that you gave, which is the other picture, right? So you can say, now the way I do it, so that I don't get to confuse because remember, this is a machine. So if I want to give it two pictures, my own picture, I will name it, I might name it as document A. And then the one that I want to be the output, I will name it as document B. Right? So what I will tell it is, when I'm giving it my prompt, I will now tell it to create this image, like using document A, right? Or using document B rather as an example. Transform the document A to have a similar photography style as the document B. Your goal is to create, so if I want 3 different variations, maybe portrait, maybe side view, I'll tell it, you are going to output 3 different variations. You are also going to include a top-down shot, because now then you will now tell it specifically if there's a pose in that document example that you give to it. You now tell it specifically, I want you to maintain the pose that is in the document. But if you don't want to, you can say, do not maintain the pose in the document. Maintain the lighting, maintain the background style, maintain the visual effects and all. However, vary the pose across the 3 variations. So I don't know if you get, so whatever you are thinking of behind the scene, you want it to have it. So I don't want to answer your own specific, but the only thing I wanted to tell you is that for your exemplar, do not use the same document that you used to train it, because I call it like your own personal training document. So do not use that same document that you wanted to pull information from. So in this case, we wanted to summarize Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart. And then we are now telling it to like use it as an example to output the format. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay, but I will still look at your work tomorrow. What I want you guys to also do is that now, when you want the AI, assume that the AI is you. Remember, you are the one I gave the tax back. So assume that the AI is you. So what you will tell it is this. You tell it you are a final year student in Federal University of Technology, Owerri, and you belong to a reading club. And as part of your monthly reading ritual, I'm already giving you guys the prompt. But as part of your, you see how it's coming off my head. I'm just thinking, right? As part of your monthly reading ritual, you have chosen to read the book, Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart, as your book for the month, sorry. And you now tell it, you have been given a task by you can see how I'm telling it, I'm talking to it as if the AI is me. I've not told it to say I, right? I'm telling it you, because I'm telling you this is who you are and this is what I want you to do. This is the task that I've been given to you. So, like, I mean, I'm talking about the AI. When I say you now, I'm talking about the AI, right? So you are this, you belong to this, and as part of this thing, your team leader has instructed, or your reading leader has instructed you to summarize. I'm already giving it away, but I want to see. Don't worry, let me not do that because I'm already giving it away. By the time I'm done with this, all of you will now start going towards my direction. I want to see what you will do by yourself. And this is what you do. The document, your assignment document is going to be in this way. And I'm going to give you a link where you're going to submit your assignment. Your assignment should be submitted before the session. So I will review probably the first 5 assignments that have been submitted. So this is what you do. Write your prompt. Write your prompt, and then yes, I think this is the better way to do it. Write your prompt, then put it inside the document. Then run your prompt using any AI model of your choice. So you are going to indicate, this is what you indicate for me. You now indicate AI model used. So the name of the document, just name the document as your name. AI model used. If it's ChatGPT, you say ChatGPT, you say this. Then you will now say my prompt, right? The one you created by yourself, say my prompt. Then you will paste your prompt inside. Then below, you now say output using my prompt. You paste the output that you got from your prompt. Also, this is a summary. So 300 words, I think, is too much for a summary, right? And remember, you are saying 3 key takeaway. That means, no, I'm already giving you, because there's I told you guys that we are going to be looking at analytical thinking, critical thinking skills. If I start giving this away, I'm already giving you the thinking that goes behind generating the prompt, because I also want you to go through the thinking process, because there are some keywords inside this prompt that I gave you that will guide the output direction. So if I give it away, I wanted to say something, but if I say it, I've already given it away. So that's what you will do. Then you say the output from my prompt. Then you now tell the AI, after you've gotten the output, you copy it and paste inside that document. Then you now tell the AI, this is a task that has been given to you, and this is the prompt I created to get to this task. Review this prompt and write a detailed prompt that can give me a better result, much more than what I wrote. So the AI will now give you a prompt template that will give you that result. Then you will now put prompt from AI, right? So these are the things that you're going to use. First things first, of course, you name the documents with your name. Then you put AI tool used. So if it's ChatGPT, if it's Gemini, anyone that you use, AI tool used, my prompt. Then you now say response from my prompt. That is the output that you got now, the answer you got using your prompt. Then you now say AI prompt, right? So forget about the answer that we get. Okay, you can say AI prompt and then put the answer that the AI prompt gave you. Don't make it too long so that we'll be able to review plenty people's own at once, okay? Then we'll give people feedback on what they've done. Does that sound like a good plan? What do you guys think?
It does. It does.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So I believe that with that we've come to the end of today's session. Oh yeah, sorry, I think Jane asked a question. Was it Jane? Yes, it was Jane. So you said something about reading levels. Okay, let me explain reading levels quickly. So the way we look at reading level when we talk about reading level is like, at what level, how do you read things? You know, someone in kindergarten, so let's say kindergarten 1, that's KG1 as it is known here. What they know is A is for apple, B is for ball. I don't think they've even started constructing sentences. So the more you go, the more sentence you are able to construct. Imagine coming to someone in primary 5. Primary 5 is high. Imagine coming to a kid in primary 1 and you are telling them that the onomatopic nomenclature of sounds is distinct. How do you think they will react? They'll look at you like they'll just be playing because they don't feel like you're talking to them. They might think you're having another conversation with an adult, right? So your reading level, so the reading level guides whatever that you are giving out to people. But if you come and tell them that I have 2 apples, Abi, I give Chike 1, or I give Chike 1. How many do you think how many do you think I have left? Let me not do word problem. So how many do you think I have left? They now say, oh, you have 1 left. That's you relating to their level. So the way they measure the level is grade level 8 should be around JS3 or so. So we have grade level 1, which is your KG1, KG2. So grade level 3 is KG3. Grade level 6 is primary 3, right? Then is that it? No, I think grade level 1 is primary, because we are using the way they do the grade level is by international standards, right? International standard. I think I did my calculation. When I calculated it, it was around primary 3 or SS1. So grade level, it's a comfortable place where you can get to use some terminologies and people will understand. People that are in JS1 will understand what you're saying. So the terminology they are using is not going to go above the reading level. So grade level is the same thing as reading level. So if I pick up a book, if someone that is in primary 1 picks up a book and they see even something as basic as, let me say, something like outstanding, and they see it, they will not, it's going to be a difficult word for them to pronounce, because at that point, I don't even think that they've started reading. So they might know this 2-letter word, A, and they might know a 5-letter word, give. They can spell basic shapes like circle. Okay, they might not even spell shapes. It might just be that they can identify. So at each level, so probably when they get to primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, they can now start forming sentences. This is a boy, Obi is a boy, Ada is a girl. Get subject, verb, predicate, all those things. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So that's how it is. So reading level is, at what level do I want to write this? And which people do I want them to, if they pick this thing up, can they read out what I've written? Do you now understand? Does it make sense to you now, Jane? Does it make sense? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Cherish, you said try the, okay, I didn't really get what you were trying to say here, because say something is very important. So I didn't really get that. Do you want to unmute yourself and just explain a bit, or should... Okay, all right. So I think that is going to be that. So does anybody have any other question or any other suggestion or input before we call it a night, please? Okay, Onyepachi, please go on.
Sorry, I came a bit late to the class.
Okay, please go on.
Example. But I know there's like it's giving the AI context
what is good, right? So
Sorry, come again.
it says the exemplar is giving the AI context on what is good, like what good looks like.
Not necessarily giving it context on what the goal looks like here. Like the context is there. Okay. Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? If you can hear me, please drop a thumbs up or okay, thank you. Cherish, can you hear me now? Okay, Onikachi can also hear me. Okay, thank you. So what the exemplar is, if you have an example, maybe you go, for instance, now someone did a summary and you read it and you're like, my God, this thing is wonderful. I want my summary to be like this. This is how I want my summary to be. You can collect that summary. You can just copy it out. You can copy it out, or you can save it as a document and say, this is the example. This the way this person, maybe is the way they structure, maybe how they wrote it, how they introduced. It might be just something that you saw and you love it so much and you're like, I want to replicate this thing. That's what you use as an example. Context is different though. Context is different. Context is where you are telling it the situation surrounding the task that you want to give it. It's different from example. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. I do.
Do you understand?
I do know.
Okay, okay. All right, now thank you very much. Okay, Miss Faith, good night. Good night. So everybody, good night. Let's call it a night. So go and do your assignment. I will be dropping the details of the assignment as well on the group, just in case you didn't really get it. And I'll be looking forward to all your entries, and thank you so much for showing up and staying till this time. I really do appreciate it, and it means a whole lot to me. So at this point, good night, good night. And one thing again, I would share a link to you where you're going to drop your review on how the session went. If it was amazing, if you loved the session, please you drop a review for me. It helps with business. And I think that will be that. So thank you so much, everybody, and good night.